Dan, how do we think about earnings now for the final quarter? Because yesterday was pretty clear as corporates were reporting that visibility has now just evaporated for the final 3 months of this year. You know, the second quarter, it felt as though when we were first hit with this pandemic and lockdowns, that corporates just didn't know what to do. They couldn't manage the demand side, they couldn't manage the supply side. Some of that has now moved forward as we have social distancing measures and more delivery option supply chain adjustments that have taken place. But it's hard to see services holding up. So what do you think that fourth quarter now looks like for the profitability of many of these corporates?
Yeah, I think that one thing that we're seeing, for example, is a very interesting dynamic. Is on one side, the earnings growth and sales growth is very poor, but most companies are actually beating consensus. So at least on a sort of positive side, sentiment has become more optimistic because analysts have lowered the estimates for corporates much more than what they have actually delivered. The problem continues to be on guidance, as you very well say. And that's why if we want to be sort of protected into the next quarter, and particularly in 2021, we need to look at companies that don't need a massive upgrade in their guidance in order to cement the valuation at which they're trading today. So you have to basically avoid those areas of the of equity markets in which companies are more dependent on consumption and more dependent on the economic cycle. That's at the end of the day the situation. In my opinion, guidance will continue to be weak. And in terms of earnings for the fourth quarter, we will likely see that same dynamic that we are seeing so far in the third quarter, which is on one side, companies are giving very weak growth and very weak sales. However, they beat heavily downgraded consensus.
Dan, always a pleasure. We will let you go at this. Dan Lacalle, Chief Economist at Tressis Gestion. We're going to take a break.